love ending it there. I love it because you tried to keep going. No. That's the.
I get to explain your big toe.
Welcome to the 17th segment, an official podcast of Good Morning BT.
You know what I always say when I go speak somewhere, a few times that I do, they invited me back.
We're back for episode 2 of the 17th segment. Why do we call it the 17th segment, Bo?
Because we have 16 in a 4-hour show and we just don't have enough time.
So here we are to tell you the stories behind the stories that we bring you every week on Good Morning BT. If you don't listen to Good Morning BT, I'm going to say it again. Where have you been? You've got to listen to it. You can not only listen to it live on the air, 11:10 a.m., 99.3 FM, but you can also listen to it live online anywhere in the world at WBT.com. But this is the place where we bring all of the things that happen in the commercial breaks, all of the things that lead
We have a laundry list.
to stories.
Let's cut to the chase, though.
Oh, this week.
So we get done with the show, and then we immediately come down here in the basement of One Julian Price Place. Now, today, we're walking down here, and we're in the stairwell, and we're walking down the stairs.
Bo was walking up, and I was walking down because
Right.
you realized that you dropped your bag off, but you needed to do something else.
Right. I had to get something out of my car, and you said to me, hey, I got to be a few minutes to get ready, and I said, okay, I'll see you in a little while.
No, I said, it's worse than that. I was like, it's going to be a few minutes. I have to try to get pretty.
Yes.
And then Bo's like, oh, well, I'll see you in a little while.
But what I meant, no. See, the way you said that makes it sound like I'm the bad guy. I didn't say, I'll see you in a long time.
That's going to take a while, Beth.
Just call me when you're ready. No, I meant that I was going to get something out of my car, so I'd see you in a little bit.
And I immediately started going, oh, and I just kind of walked out of the stairwell. But the cute thing that Bo Thompson did is he followed me back down here. He's like, don't you even.
Because I walked in and I knew what you were going to say to Steve. You're not going to believe what he just said to me. And that's the second time that's happened to me this week. The first time was, of course, on the air.
Okay. This was back. So we had a long 3-day weekend because we had Memorial Day off. We played a best of show on Monday on Memorial Day. So Tuesday was technically our Monday. We come in, first segment of the show. If you listen to the show, you know that, and this was Bo's idea. I wake up every single day with a song in my head. This is not just since I started this job. I mean, it's my whole life. There's always a song in my head. I wake up singing. And about 2 years ago, maybe, you decided to harness that. And we start the show with whatever the song was. What was yesterday's song? I don't even remember now.
I have no clue. No, it was Outkast.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
Outkast. And I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was
Very
Outkast.
radio-friendly group, if you've not heard them before.
And so we just started.
And by that, I mean like lots of bad words that I have to edit out. Not that like radio doesn't want to play them. Radio does want to play them,
do.
but you have to do a few things before you actually do that.
So Bo is, busily right before the show working to make sure that we have a radio edit of this Outkast song, which I didn't.
I usually get about 15 seconds.
I didn't even realize that it was an Outkast song. I was like, Bo, I came in, I was like, I don't even know what this song is. But I started singing it to him. He was like, oh,
Wow, me neither.
So we're talking about the Memorial Day weekend, and my nephew graduated on Friday, the 23rd of May. He graduated from high school, and I went to the high school graduation, and I got this really great picture with him. And in fact, I'll give it to Steve so we can pop that little picture up right here from his graduation. He's so cute. He's in his little sunglasses.
Well, and he's not new to the show. If you've listened for a while, he's the kid that called in the day and said that you and me look like Steve Martin and Diane Keaton from Father of the Bride.
Yes, he said we sent him a picture of Steve Martin and Diane Keaton from Father of the Bride 2, which they were supposed to be about 45 years old in that movie version. Murphy.
That Murphy?
That Murphy.
It was a great Murphy. Myrtle? That was a great Murphy.
So we sent him that picture. He had never even seen the movie, but we, were around that age, and we thought that Steve Martin and Diane Keaton looked older than 45.
Because Steve Martin has looked 70 for 40 years.
Well, he did have prematurely gray hair, in his 20s.
It's been white. Like he was in the Muppet movie, and his hair's the same color it is right now.
So we send this photo to my nephew Braylon and said, is this what you think that I look like, Braylon? And we call him live on the air, and he basically says,
Yeah.
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 Yep, that's how you dress, that's how you look, it's how you wear your hair. So that's Braylon. This is Braylon who graduated. My first, nephew, firstborn nephew. Love that child like he is my own. I love both of my nephews and my niece like they're my own. But Braylon, I was going through the phone. I was talking about this on the air. I was being all emotional. I was going through my phone, looking at pictures of us when he was a tiny young man. And then, this picture here that's from his graduation. I was like, look at him. He's 6'2" and he has chin hair. And then Bo just comes in hot and says, oh, well, that makes two of you.
Now, if you're just hearing that story for the first time, you're like, wow, what a mean guy. Now, one of the first times that I ever sort of got a window into what this was going to be was, I don't know how many years ago it was. We've been on the air for 3+.
Yeah.
One day we did a segment early on about you talking about your chin hair that you found on, and I'm sitting here in the middle of this going, well, I guess we're going to ride this train.
There's this story and he's right. I actually did bring it up a couple of years ago because if husbands out there who have wives who are about my age, I am 48, and ladies who are about my age, it's the perimenopause phase of life.
None today.
And there's a whole lot that happens, and it feels a whole lot of crazy. And so there was a day that I was sitting, it was a weekend, and I came in, I think on a Monday telling this story, that I was sitting outside. It was a beautiful day. My husband was with me. We were sitting on our patio furniture, drinking a glass of wine, like talking. And my husband gets up mid-sentence and just walks inside. And I was thinking, like, was that conversation over? He walks inside and gets a pair of tweezers, and he walks out, doesn't say anything, and just plucks the hair from my chin. So I tell this story on the air.
It's one thing that happened. It's another thing altogether to talk about that outside of your nuclear family. It's an entirely another thing. I just invented a word. Another thing to actually talk about it over WBT, which can be heard from Canada to Cuba.
So it doesn't occur to me, and you know this if you listen to Good Morning BT, it doesn't occur to me to not say things, but it's because I don't have a filter, and the things that most people wouldn't talk about, it doesn't occur to me not to say them out loud.
No, it's actually, you have like a gene that says, no, talk loud about it. And you did that day, and that was what, 2 years ago?
I think it has to.
So I drop a line
while.
in the middle of our opening segment, like she said a couple of days ago, or actually yesterday.
It's like, now it makes both of you.
And you would have thought, so first of all, if you're listening to the show, the room, like there's a pause. It was like a 2 or 3 second delay, and then everybody got it, and it was like, ah! And I was like, I thought that was pretty funny.
It was stealth. It was stealth Bo. And it's that thing that I talked about in the very first episode of the 17th segment. Like when Bo gets tickled or Bo does a stealth joke or just drops a line, it's insanely amazing. And everyone in the room erupted. We are in rolling chairs. I rolled back and like hit the wall with my chair. I was laughing so hard. But then Zoki piles on and he's like, Bo, you don't say it out loud.
Wait a minute. Your husband heard this segment. You guys listened to it together.
Yes.
And his response was?
My husband was dying laughing because Zoki says, you don't say it. You don't. But
your husband actually got up and went and got tweezers.
And plucked it from my chin.
So somehow I'm the bad guy.
No,
now.
you're definitely not the bad guy. It was just so stealth and so perfectly timed and so just completely out of the blue. I have no idea why.
I know it was funny, but I will tell you, like, so we're here on the podcast talking about like how things actually happen and how they're perceived in the room.
Yeah.
Like there was the split second, and then there's a difference between when we think something's funny, like legit funny, when we all, because you always say like when we all lose it, there's a special kind of energy in the room. But yesterday was like, everybody was like, oh, I can't believe he said that. And I'm thinking, I'm just playing off the story to begin with that was crazy enough to start with.
But it was so hilariously funny, and we all reacted. And that's the other thing is I think probably because it's a room of dudes, and then Bo's talking about my chin hair that came from me talking about my nephew's chin hair.
Right.
And
so I feel like nothing is off limits, and then all of a sudden I obviously crossed the line where they didn't think I'd go. Maybe that's what it is. That you guys didn't think that I would go. Steve, you were in there. Were you? No, you actually weren't there. You were gone.
Brilliant.
When you listen back to it, Steve, because you were not in studio.
Did you forget? Yeah, you forget that I wasn't there yesterday.
Right. Because so you weren't here yesterday, but then I played it for you today when you walked in. That's how much of a talking point this was.
Yes, and it put me in tears pretty quick.
It was brilliant. It was stealth Bo at his best. But I also think that the other guys in the room, I think Bo immediately knew that I was going to think that it was funny, but I think the other guys in the room were waiting to see my reaction.
Is she going to think it's funny?
Is she going to laugh? Which I will tell you, and
it's
know
like
this.
Zoki always says, are mom and dad going to fight?
Are mom and dad, are they okay? But you know this. I'm the first person to laugh at myself, and I will maybe sometimes laugh harder at myself.
Oh, no. My subconscious would not have. I will say this: when those things happen, sometimes it's almost like a out of body thing. Like I'll zing it in there, but wow, did I really just say that? And that was one of those moments yesterday. But I subconsciously know. Like I know that's the problem is when I say things to you like, oh, I'll see you in a little while. Or I talk about Beth's chin hair. I can't believe I'm even saying this. But when I know you so well that I there's a comfort level where I'm not I know where I can go.
Well, but what happens too, because of that comfort level and because it's really hard to offend me. Like it's hard to offend me. And it doesn't, I think that's probably why today's show, we're talking, it's May 8th? Is it the 28th? Mm-hmm. Yesterday. So yesterday, if you want to hear this chin hair moment, it was the very beginning of the show for May 27th. You need to go back and listen to it because you can hear us all it takes a beat and then we all get it. We all get that Bo just basically called me out for having menopausal chin hairs. But
that's how this story is going to be retold. And the further we get away from it, Bo actually on the air was talking about menopausal pre-hair.
Pre-hair?
What did you say?
Chin hair.
Oh, chin hair. I don't know.
What is a pre-hair?
I don't know. Just sounded clinical.
What in the world is a pre-hair?
So is this how this is going to work? Is this going to bounce back and forth? So on the air, I said chin hair. Then on the podcast, I said pre-hair. And on the air, well, what is pre-hair? 704-570-1110.
Oh, that's my new favorite word is a pre-hair. But so today's show, we spent all day trying to figure out the whole 4-hour show, what it was that we talked about that was on the air or off the air, because all of our conversations, and it goes back to what you were just saying, but not the pre-hair, but the comfort level, that we have this comfort level that you're not going to offend me, that if it comes out of your mouth, like you have this, we just have this brother and sister kind of back and forth thing that it's going to be fine, that it's going to work.
I mean, I wouldn't have said it first of all, I wouldn't have said it if I thought it would offend you, but I guess subconsciously, I keep using that word, but it's like there's a show going on behind the show, because we often say to each other, I can't remember whether we said that on the air or off the air.
Right.
And I actually think that's the best thing that could be said about where we are 3+ years in, is that and we hear this from listeners a lot who say, do you guys just sound like you're sitting around a table anywhere in America just shooting the what. I know I can say it here, but I'm not. Shooting the breeze. And I do think, I've been a part of enough shows.
Good save, Bo. Good save.
Thanks, Steve.
You cleaned
I
up
didn't want to
his
make you
potty
work
mouth.
too hard. But I think that's where a lot of shows strive to get to and maybe never do. And we did pretty early on. In fact, I think we did so early on that we realized, okay, we got to pull all this together and protect what this is, because we really do sit around, and there's that old joke about, do we know we have microphones? But that's not like a focus group thing. Hey, let's say we don't know we have. No, we really have trouble sometimes remembering what was on the air and off the air. And in this business that we're in, I think what you really strive to do is to be real, right?
Yes.
And so I feel really good about where we are with what we've started to build here, that we really legit don't know what was on the air and what was off the air.
Should I tell the story that came right out of the chin hair? I mean, it didn't come out of the chin hair.
Or do you mean the pre-hair?
The pre-hair. It came out of my pre-hair. But right after the segment when I had to do the live
Oh,
spot.
yeah. I mean, this is a perfect example.
Oh, so I think the very first episode of the 17th segment, I talked about the fact that these guys often get tickled at something during my live shots. And it's kind of like that moment from Anchorman where they're trying to distract Veronica Corningstone, dancing over to her side, like in her eye line. Well, these guys are both, I sit at the end of an oval shaped table. So I have them both in my eye line at all times. And I started a live commercial for one of the clients, and we say that we love our clients. And I was doing this live commercial for Narrowway Productions, which is like a Christian musical theater. It's like the Broadway of Christian entertainment is what they call them. I've been to their shows. My family used to go for like family Troutman nights out. But the newest show that they have is called Ain't Got No Men. And so I was like, Ain't Got No Men. And then I said, because it's all men in the studio, I was like, well, I've got a lot of men in my area. And as soon as I said it, these two, like Bo and Jim, started, like, they lay down on the desk, both of them, kind of like kids who are in trouble in school or something. And they're laughing so hard. And then Bernie starts laughing. And then I'm trying not to laugh because I'm doing this very, not serious commercial,
and
but
that's
it's for
a unique. Not unique, but it's the situation during the show where you are talking about one of your specific clients. So technically, we're not supposed to be in it. So unless it's something unusual, you won't hear me, you won't hear Jim, you won't hear Bernie, but Beth can see us. Now, if it happens on the air, the dead ringer for something's really hit the room that they think is funny, Jim always says, "Oh, we've lost Bo.
We've lost
Bo." And that's when I'll put my head down on the desk and I'll just be. And Beth loves these moments because
I do. It's the bubble face.
But that one, we're not doing that again. That's last week's episode, the bubble face. This week is very strictly just the pre-hair. But in that particular spot, the Narrowway, that's just you. Like some of them are tandem. Like we'll do the Cardinal Environmental or we'll do Kristen Bernard. But this one is supposed to be your ball. And
it's about like faith-based entertainment. And then here I was like, well, I've got men in my area. But I meant in my vicinity, like like all men I'm surrounded by.
You're not helping yourself.
I'm not helping.
No,
you're
not wrong because you're the only girl in the room.
That's what I meant. That's what I meant.
The way that I hear the show and the way that I've now trained Bernie to hear the show this way. I hear things in sound bites. And so does Steve, because he's a production guy with a background like mine. But we all hear things in sound bites. So as soon as you said what you said,
there's like plenty of men in my area.
Yeah, I know that by itself is going to wind up somewhere by itself.
Isolate that sound bite.
Right. Now I want to go one further on you because there's another moment today. And this is something else that as you listen to the show, you may come to notice. If you listen a lot, Beth, every once in a while, and you learn sort of the rhythm of doing a two-person show.
I know where you're going.
Y'all know that I did this show by myself for a long time. So when Beth came along, I had to sort of retrain myself on how to do a show with another person. And I love it, and I'm glad that I've had to kind of get used to that again. But one of the things that happens every once in a while is we'll come on. And if you listen to us interview anybody, there's sort of an understanding that I'll take a question, then she'll take a question, and I'll take a question.
Ping-pong.
I mean, I'm all about making sure that we both have sort of equal time to ask questions. That's kind of the cadence of any duo or trio or however many people. But anyway, so
this was
from
so
time
bad.
to time, and it happened again today. Like one of us will lose our train of thought. But I asked a question. I think it was Teresa. It was Teresa Payton.
Okay, and she is one of our favorite guests. She's brilliant. We always talk like tech headlines. She calls us from wherever she is in the world, and we do pay attention.
Yeah,
it's just today I got distracted by Bo.
So we come out of the gate, and I ask her a question, and I sort of innately know but I don't have to look at you and go, now you're on.
Right. Right.
If I ask a question, I ask my question, she answers, and then I know Beth is coming next.
Side note, you just did your own impersonation of my voice impersonation of you.
Which was what?
Now you're on.
Is that what it sounded like?
Yeah, it was, right?
There was a little bit of that going on. Just
Okay.
a little.
Thank you.
Not as bad as Serious Bo from last week, though.
So back to Teresa. So now I'm
So
on.
I asked the first question, and then Teresa has her answer, and then I'm waiting for Beth to ask the next question. And I came back and I said,
So you had asked a question about where all of the internet is stored. Is it on a server somewhere? And then she went into this whole thing about petabytes and
okay, now I know.
terabytes or something, and like where like snapshots of the internet are stored.
So I can explain this a little bit better. It's what happens when I come back and I'll say, yes, and that's very interesting, Teresa. And then I'm waiting for Beth to come on. And Beth will go, she would normally go, yes, that's very interesting, Teresa. She has a way of repeating what I just said. Today it was just one word. And she comes back and she goes, wow.
Wow. And I said it just like that. Wow. But so here is the behind the story. If you go back and listen to that interview, it was at 6:20 on May 28th, and you can listen to the interview. It's about halfway through the interview. She's talking about where the internet is stored. And I come back and wow. So here's what was happening before the wow. When she was talking about where the internet was stored, at the same time, there was a news story that was playing on the monitors above my head about what was going on with President Trump in Russia. And we knew that we were going to talk to Brett Winterble later in the show. And so Bo finds that story on his computer, and he was taking a screenshot of a couple of tweets that he wanted to ask Brett Winterble specifically about.
I was multitasking.
He was multitasking, and he does that, and I'm very used to it. But I started reading the tweet off of his computer screen, and as I'm reading the tweet on his computer screen, I didn't realize that Teresa had stopped talking, and I knew that it was my turn to ask a question. So you hear me realize that there's no sound, that no one's talking, and I just go, wow. And then I completely switched gears to charging your phone at the airport. You have the screenshot, don't you?
No, I was just multitasking. Sorry.
I thought he was looking for the screenshot because he grabbed it, and I got distracted reading the tweet or the Truth Social post or the X post, whatever, off of his screen,
So
and realized
neither one of us were paying a lick of attention in the moment
to that one
to
answer.
what the answer was, because I was doing something and I didn't know you were watching what I was doing.
I was
and
watching
then you come
him.
back and you're like, wow, that is fascinating. Next question.
But I didn't even say, "Wow, that's fascinating." I just said, "Wow."
But you moved on.
But then I completely transitioned, and
it was like, wow. On to the next thing in our podcast.
The funny thing is that he didn't notice it in the moment that I said, wow, the way that I said it. But we actually played the interview again in the 9:00 hour for folks who, maybe aren't up. It's 6:20 in the morning. We want to make sure that people hear Teresa because she always has fantastic information. But as we were playing it back and I was listening to it, about 3, maybe 5 seconds before I said it, I was like, hold on, Bo, you're about to hear me go, wow. And then I repeated it because I knew that I had completely caught myself.
Well, and Bernie takes it and he goes, wow, wow, wow. And
so-
keeps playing it over and over.
Then it became a joke for the 9:00 hour. Everything that anybody said, one of us would just say, wow, wow.
Wow.
So if you listen to the last 9:00 hour, in each segment, you'll hear one of us, whether it be Jim or me or Bo, or even Bernie, just go, wow.
But then there are other times Beth has this tendency every once in a while when she, I guess, starts getting bored with what I'm saying. I'll say, and call Teresa Payton today. She's a great person to talk to. And Beth will say, yes, a great person to talk to.
I don't know why.
And scene.
I don't know why. And I do that. I repeat things that he says. And the other day there was, we were again doing a live commercial. We were doing, I think we were doing an Empower Home Team, Kristen Bernard, which we love her. And Brett Winterble texted me a question right in the middle of the live read. So my phone caught me off guard. We always have our phones with us because that's how Bo and I send each other stories. So during the show, we always have our phones open so that we can read articles that we've sent each other and think about the stories that we're going to tell. So I get this text from Brett Winterble, and Bo was talking during that part of the live read, and he said something and he ended the sentence with teeth or teef or Beth teef or something. But all I heard was teef. So I just said teef. I just repeated the random word that he said.
See, Steve, you were not here, and all this happened in one day when you weren't here.
This was all
Apparently, I'm not allowed to take days off anymore.
This is what happens when you do.
Right. These things all happen when I'm out of the room.
the wheels just come off, Steve.
Well, the wheels came off a little bit today too. Admittedly, by about 6:30, I think we were pretty well.
By about 6:30, you realize, folks, we start at 6.
6. Yeah. Not even a half hour into the 4-hour show, we were already like kind of buckled over and tears in our eyes.
What was today, Steve? What got us? What got us today? We started with the "I Hate It Here" was the Taylor Swift song.
Well, yeah, she started off with a song
that wasn't bad.
Yeah, and then I don't even know.
Right, and then that's the thing is there's so many things that happen throughout the course of the 4 hours that you kind of lose track of what was it that set us off here versus there, and again, what happened in a commercial break versus what happened on the air that then continued into the commercial break. Thus, the whole point of what we're doing now.
Real part of what was the on air, what was the off air. But then, Steve, you said the loveliest thing ever that you had Friday and Monday and Tuesday off.
Wow.
You said, "Wow, what a show!
Wow."
What a show!"
I was listening yesterday. Yesterday
on his day off.
Yeah, I was off. And
By the way, is that not the sign of a great show that your producer takes the day off and he listens
and still wakes up and tunes in? Yeah.
I think we're hitting on all cylinders here.
Yeah.
Well, I was taking my car into to the mechanic, and of course at 7:30 in the morning, and I'm on the road and driving with a radio at hand. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to listen to what my coworkers are up to. And then once I got there, as you guys know, I started texting you my little bits of the conversation, especially when you started bad-mouthing Florida, and I had to
surefire way to rouse Steve anywhere.
I had to defend my former home.
Yeah.
But I actually had a conversation, and Beth, I shared this with you earlier this morning before the show started. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday, actually at the mechanics. We were talking about, what do you do for work? And I said, while the money's not great, the fact that I spend 8 hours a day laughing and joking to the point where more often than not, we're like in tears or doubled over in pain from laughing. You don't get a better gig than that.
Right.
It's just you're getting paid to hang out with your friends and make jokes and have fun and be an idiot in front of in front of
other.
Hundreds of thousands of people on the radio.
Or pluck chin hairs.
Or pluck chin hairs.
Or pre-hairs.
That too.
Or talk about there were other things that we wanted to make sure we got to.
I was just looking at my list because what we're doing now, if you listen to the big show, we have a sounder that we play when we think of something that needs to be more fleshed out on the 17th segment, or something that would belong on the 17th segment. Because as you've listened so far, we're an open.
Pointing at you. I'm sitting here frozen like this. I don't know why. I'm going to stop.
we're an open book on the air. So what this is a more detailed. This is like a bibliography.
Yes, it's like the footnote.
All these years later, he used the word in a sentence.
The show footnote.
That's better. I like that.
There were things that
bibliography
that we all like.
Stupid word.
What were the?
What is the bibliography? I always thought it was a dumb word.
No, it's not. It's a great word.
Biblio sounds like. Well, anyway,
it's book.
This is a rabbit hole on the 17th segment.
Well, do you remember there used to be a restaurant close to South Park?
La Bibliothèque.
La Bibliothèque.
Yes.
We went there before our prom.
Oh, I thought you were about to tell me that we went there like before the show one day. It's like,
we
boy, I
went
forgot
there.
about that.
You don't remember?
Yeah. At this point, I don't remember half the stuff we do.
No.
I don't remember what I ate for breakfast yesterday.
So what were the other things that we wrote down that we needed to flesh out? Oh, we promised. I talked yesterday about the fact that I burned my arm over the weekend while I was cooking. Oh, you can't see it. It's right there. There's
Apparently we lit you too well that you can't.
That was from this weekend.
Now you can see it.
Yeah, you can kind of.
Wow.
See it.
Yeah.
That looks like it hurt.
It doesn't. I just grazed the pan.
That's
when I was,
not a graze.
I was pulling something out of the oven. Oh, there we go. Now you can see it. And I just grazed the pan with it was like right at the top of where my oven mitts hit. And Jim said, "We'll show it to you on the 17th segment." So we are people of our word. That's the burn on my arm. It doesn't hurt at all. I literally just grazed the pan. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
cooking.
I mean, we've talked about your chin hair. We talked about your scar on your arm. You've never said a word about my scar. And it's staring you in the face every day. right here.
Your mustache?
No, it's underneath it. That's why you can't see
Well, that's why I can't say it. I thought you were going to tell me your frown line was a scar.
my frown line.
Your frown line.
Do I have a frown line?
Right. Like people get they're called the 11s right here. Mine, I just have a 1, but mine's over by my eyebrow.
Now that we have video, I can like go back and look at my frown line.
So when you do your resting bow face, they're called 11s. They're like 2 little lines where like there's like little frown lines. It's like laugh lines, and forehead lines, because it's to me like the roadmap of a life well lived. It means you've been thinking. It means you've been laughing. It means you've been expressing. It's all of the things on your face.
The roadmap of a life well lived.
Yeah.
Well, so I was going to tell you when I was a kid in kindergarten, I had cowboy boots on for some reason, and I used to wear cowboy boots to school.
You
Yeah,
did?
cowboy boots were cool back in those days. 1980ish.
That tracks.
Were they?
That tracks.
That tracks.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
I see like miniature Bo
Yeah.
strutting into school
It was
with
right around when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out.
Did you wear them with shorts? Like boots and shorts?
Probably. Although I was a jeans kind of kid,
Boots
so I
and your
had a
Wranglers.
boot cut before
Cool.
they started making them.
Keep in mind, Beth, we have had this conversation, and it wasn't on the 17th segment, or maybe it was, about
It was
Bo
in the
and
parking
shorts.
lot yesterday.
Oh, Bo, because I do. This may
Because
have
of the
been-
race. When they did the Mech Mile, that was the big thing that you were
Yes.
mentioning on air is, oh my God, are we going to see Bo in shorts? I'm actually going
And
to
she
see
said
your
something
legs.
very strange. It's always strange when I see people's kneecaps.
like their knees.
I
I
went
don't.
to the beach twice now, and I was wearing shorts both times.
And that's exactly what happened. Was I went ahead and pulled up some of the photos from when we were at the beach in August, my first year at the beach, your second year, and Bo is broadcasting from Beach Shack
shorts.
Waniac in shorts. And it was
Yes.
like, look, there he is in shorts and flip-flops. Like,
Look
you've
at those
seen his knees
kneecaps.
before.
I don't know. It's like one of those weird things when you see your coworker's knees. I don't know why it's weird. It's
Not. It's not weird.
It's exactly right, Steve. It's not.
It's called geniophobia. I think it's like
It's only weird to
You're
Beth.
the only person in my entire life that I've ever heard say anything about really noticing anyone's knees.
Well,
Like-
I have knobby knees. My grandfather used to call me old knobby knees.
Wait, so the whole time we were on the beach trip, we've done it twice now. Have you been fixated on everyone's knees?
No, I think it was more thinking about you in short shorts. So maybe it was knees and thighs. Maybe
I wasn't
it was
wearing short shorts.
No, exactly.
Oh,
but
okay.
if you had
Don't stipulate
run,
that. I don't
if
have
you
short shorts.
had run the Mech Mile in like track shorts, the track shorts, the little teeny shorts, and I was trying to not picture you in track
were
shorts.
picturing me, but you're
No, I
not
was
saying
not.
that you think that I have been wearing those.
Do you?
No, I don't have any of
What do
those.
you run in?
I wear not short shorts. Are you talking about like Richard Simmons shorts?
not biker shorts, not tight.
No,
ones.
they're like
Like the
Under Armour, like
floppy
like,
ones.
Remember Umbros?
Yeah.
Umbros were not short shorts, but they were like.
They're mid thigh.
I don't wear Umbros. I had those when I was in high school, but
They're like
now
mid-thigh.
I have Under Armour like mesh shorts.
You wear mesh.
Not like the Richard Simmons mesh shorts, but the plastic material,
Like gym shorts.
Like
You're
no
talking
matter
about
how I
gym
described
shorts.
this, you're making it weird. But you started off by saying, "I look at people's kneecaps."
No, I do. It was. I guess like a weird fear of knees, and maybe I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't know.
A weird fear of knees.
I don't know. It's like a weird thing of seeing like people's knee bones. At Easter, when I was with my nephew, the same nephew that graduated, who shares my chin hair,
Suddenly, Steve, suddenly, I'm just really glad I'm wearing jeans.
Yeah, no, and it's making me second guess when we're
next week on
supposed
the
to
podcast, I'm going to wear shorts.
And
I'm going to wear shorts. That's going to blow her mind.
we have a tentative date for the beach now. So now I'm even slightly more concerned about what my wardrobe on the beach trip is going to be.
Well,
No
and
knees.
you said tentative. So we were here on
Right.
the 17th. I can tell you why we're not ready to say it yet, because we do this show, which will now be in its third year. If everything works out, we're gonna do it this in the month of June coming up. So it's about 3 weeks away or so. But what we try to do, which
Is
I
not
think is
show
such a
their
cool
knees.
thing about this show, is we try to get redundancy at all the different positions so that everybody can go. Because in a normal situation, Bernie would have to stay back here, Steve would have to stay back here, Boomer would, because they do their jobs at a different place. And we have to have news and weather and traffic and sports and all that stuff. But we decided a couple of years ago when we first did this, let's not just you and me go down there and do the show back to them. Let's have everybody come. And so if you work on this show, and I hope, Steve, this is how you guys think of it. If you work on this show, it's like a family. And when we go places, we want everybody to go.
We want the whole family on the trip. We want everybody so that we can all, because it's not just the show. We drive down there together, although in separate cars.
Right. We caravan down
I don't know why we do it that way.
Because the first year, well, actually both years.
We all had to leave at different
probably
times.
this year too, to be honest with you, based on what I'm hearing from the rest of the group, that we all have to sort of disperse after it's over. Like you usually stay because...
It's my dad.
Yeah. But a lot of us had to, I can't remember why, I think I had to go move my son into college after that was over.
Yeah, because it was
that.
August. The last one was August. So yeah, that's probably about right.
Right. And for Bernie, Emma was ready to give birth any day.
Any day.
It could have been when we were in Myrtle Beach. Like we were
Get
waiting.
a better excuse, Bernie.
Yeah. Well, you didn't have it. You didn't have it this year. And then for me, it was just my first year. I mean, I had only been with you guys for like a month, maybe
was like,
6
I don't
weeks
know
at that
these
point.
people.
Right. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm getting into a car with them,
Steve's
if I'm going to
like,
be
what is happening?
stranded, if they're just going to like go to Myrtle Beach,
We go
drop
to
me
Beth's
off and
dad's
turn around and
place,
take
and
off.
There's a live band in the den.
And poor Steve, this is his introduction to the show. But it's fun, right, Steve?
It was a phenomenal time. It was great and you know what? And this is because I know we're kind of within earshot of some of our management from down here in the basement. It was great for team building.
Yes.
It was great for show and for content.
Especially the trust fall off the balcony.
Yeah, off of the 9th story balcony. It was an absolutely amazing time, and I'm super looking forward to this year, and I can only assume it's going to be better, simply because we're kind of, again, tentatively, we're going to do this there.
Yeah,
on top of doing the show. We also want to do either the night before or the afternoon of the show or whatever to actually do a 17th segment from Waniac Beach Shack, like filmed and recorded at the Waniacs.
So that you can see the balcony where we are. You can see the condo. 'Cause my dad's sister has a condo right next door, literally to my dad's condo. So she's lovely enough to let us have that condo as well, so that we all have our own bedrooms. I have a room with my own bathroom, so I'm not sharing with these smelly fellas. But so that
she can get rid of her chin hair by herself in the privacy of her own bedroom.
Without an
I can
audience.
Pluck my pre-hairs, pre-show at any time.
I'm so stupid.
So knees at the beach. I see everyone's knees at the beach.
Beth, you're the bee's knees.
The odd thing that I was about to say about my nephew again was that at Easter,
Poor kid. The second time he's worked himself into the 17th
know.
segment.
Well, he thought I was so weird because I had on my, I have these like flowy. I've got these aren't the actual ones, but I have flowy pants that I love wearing in the summer. I call them my summer pants, and every time I wear them,
covers up her kneecaps.
I come into the studio and I sing "Summer Pants Make Me Feel Fine." Anywho, I had those summer pants on at Easter, but my nephew had on his shorts, and of course I see people's knees. But my grandpa called me old knobby knees, and I saw Braylon's knees, and we have the same knees. We have genetically the same knees.
Did you walk up to him and go, Braylon, we have the same knees?
Yes, I did. And he thought I was the weirdest person, so that I had to pull my pants.
Well, he should.
I had to pull my pants up over my knee to show him that we had the same knees genetically. I was gonna tell that story, and we somehow ended up on the beach, and then we told that story. So I had to come back to the knee story.
Cool story, Grandma.
Yeah. We got sidetracked.
Are you Aunt Knobby Knees? Like, did that become a thing?
No, but I think
it should.
I think he thinks that I'm absolutely crazy because I was like, we have the same knees. But since I don't have children of my own, to see genetic traits show up in your nephew, nobody else has my knees. I'm very excited.
Now, you know how you make fun of my voice? That sounded like you said, we have the same knees.
And you know what my niece has? She has my same big toe. I have a gigantic big toe. And she has the same
in
one.
life, you look for signs, and that is the sign to sign off for episode 2. The big toe. In fact, that might have to be the name of this week's episode, Steve. The big toe.
Mm-hmm. It's huge.
No. I said that's the sign to end.
I would
We'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. This has been the 17th segment.
Listen to Good Morning BT with Bo Thompson and Beth Troutman live weekdays 6 to 10 on News Talk 1110 and 99.3 WBT.